let's get into it. What's up, everyone? My name is Ajwritescrypto. Welcome to the live stream. It is Wednesday, August 13th. It's only Wednesday. I am sad to say this is my final live stream of the week, but it's okay. We're going to Chicago for UFC 319. Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated fighter, fighting for the belt, fighting another undefeated fighter. Whew. Whew. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this one. I am like kind of bummed. Like I just got home, just got cozy, and then I'm hitting the road again. And I get home, and then we go to Maryland again after that. But it's all good. This is what it's about: traveling, doing all these things. I couldn't be more excited. Couldn't be more excited. Man, there's a lot of shout out to everybody in the chat. A lot of things going around today. For sure, got a handful of news stories to get into. I do want to say, make sure you go check out the new interview I have with Mark Wallenberger, the CSMO, not CMO, CSMO. Strategy is the word for S, of Algorand. We basically sat down for over 2 hours in a boarding room, like a very big table with like 20 seats, just me and Mark. And we went over all the audience questions for like 2 hours. We filmed like a half-hour interview, like a one-on-one, basically asking all the questions the Algo fam had about Algorand, and everybody got credit in the interview. Everyone who got a question through, got their name used, will get $50. I'm going to take care of all the giveaway stuff when I get back from my traveling, so don't like spam your Algo wallet over $50. I promise. I've never done anyone dirty on a giveaway. You will get your money, but I'm traveling right now, so I'll get to it when I get to it. But we did Algo's chart yesterday, so we're not going to do Algo's chart today. 6 were picked out, but Fitz, to be fair, a lot of the questions were just the same question rephrased separately. Like I would say of the 6 questions we answered probably 88% of the questions because a lot of them were just the same thing rephrased. So there's that. We are going over the charts that we did not hit yesterday from shout out charts for today. We will be going over Ondo. We'll be going Aptos and Pendle. Those are 3 that we will be hitting today for sure. Also got a couple more picked out. I do have kind of like a top 5 charts you want to watch right now. I have those picked out, and I also I did intend yesterday on putting some setups in the Telegram group, and I sat around on the alarms, and the alarms that I was looking at never went off because really Ethereum was the move yesterday. And sometimes if the alarm I'm watching doesn't go off, I'm not just going to post in the group for the sake of posting in the group. I'm not going to post something just to post something, right or wrong. I'm going to post something when it's the right time. And I'm dedicated enough of a trader to know when to go hard and when to lay off. And I'm not going to just post just to say I did. I'd rather give you fire. And that's more important to me. So it also makes it more valuable when you get posts to go on. And also, not to mention, if you're bored in a Telegram group, there are years and years of historical levels, alarms that you could set on any chart and valuable levels that still matter now. Most of the time, a previous alarm is what's going to hint me off or give me an awareness for a trade to make today. So don't act like there's nothing there. A lot to go over today. So much to go over today. Almost already over 60 people here on YouTube. More than that on X. Thanks for being here. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm sorry we do not have time for a members only live stream this week, but we will make up for them once we kind of get into September. And I kind of feel like summer. I mean, we have, Ethereum's running. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high today. But like the truth is the alts are really where everyone wants. I feel like alts are waking up, but it's not like abrupt yet. So when we get to the abrupt part, I think that's really what's going to be matter. And I still think that there's a lot of lessons to learn between now and when we really see alts take off. We're seeing movement, but we're not seeing the takeoff. So I think we have a lot to prepare for. All right, so let's get into a handful of news stories here. 2 billion Doge accumulation triggers a golden cross for Dogecoin price. And this is true. On the daily chart, right here, there it is. Boom, golden cross for Dogecoin. We had the death cross, and we kind of waited. We put in our higher low. That higher low should have been like the massive tip off for most people. And of course, a couple not too long later, couple, probably 50 days later, we put in the golden cross. So let's look at what happened last time Dogecoin put in a golden cross, which was right here. So from the day of the golden cross, October 24th to the top, 41 days, Dogecoin pumped 259% from 13 cents up to the local high around 48 cents. Right now, if Doge was to return to that local high from the current price, just under 25 cents, that would still be about a 96% move. I do not hate Dogecoin as a large cap splash. You guys know that obviously if you look at my crypto portfolio, which is up another $30,000 from when I showed it to you yesterday, insane. We were at 6, dude. We're up 30 G's again today. We were up 30 G's yesterday. And it's nothing like, we're not having abrupt movement. We're just seeing everything go up a little bit. It's really only a 4.3, 4.6% move. Equates to 28 grand when you have a portfolio of that size. Remember, this is not my entire portfolio. This is just my public bag that I decided to build on here. I think about 410, 415 or something dollars was the initial buy for this bag here. So we're doing very well. But as you can see, if you look at the selection of coins that kind of constitute the bulk of this portfolio, as in the coins I have with accumulations over $50,000, we have Arbitrum, Jasmy, Hedera, Vet, Algo, Ondo, where Hedera acts as the anchor, as in the larger cap coin for kind of stability that probably has the smallest ceiling out of the other 5 coins. Not saying it can't do well. I'm just saying that, I'm used to buying Hedera at 6 cents, 7 cents, not what it is now, or what is exactly Hedera's price for the sake of argument. 26 cents. You know what I mean? And look, my average cost on my H bar in this bag was 17 cents. It's up 55%, 27,000 in profit just on H bar. Whereas, okay, well, that accumulation is less than my Ondo accumulation. My Ondo accumulation is only up 20%, average cost 89 cents. But I think Ondo has a higher ceiling from right here, right now than Hedera does. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. That's why we speculate. But at the same time, I feel that if you kind of look at like I mentioned this yesterday, if you kind of look at where these coins are by market cap and like the odds of them being able to put, a 4x, 5x, 6x from the current price, Ondo's market cap is only 3.3 billion. Arbitrum and Algorand, VeChain, all 3 of them together, 1, 2, 3 right here. 2.4 billion, 2.3 billion, 2.2 billion. All of those, in my opinion, very easily could get to $10 billion in a good bull run scenario, which is why I have my portfolio set up the way I have it, where I do have other picks: Injective, Suede, Cardano, AVAX, Render, Virtuals, Dogecoin, the Graph, Shiba, Pyth, Fed. But once you get below Dogecoin, everything is kind of a splash. It doesn't really matter that much. Whereas I really think the holds Arbitrum up, 50,000 up, are the bulk of the portfolio, where Injective, Suede, Cardano, AVAX, those 3 together equal $100,000 basically. So yeah, they matter, but they're not going to make or break my bag. I think the deal breakers are the top 6: Ondo, Algo, Vet, Hedera, Jasmy, Arbitrum. That is my top 6 for this bull run in the top 100. It's that simple. Those are my picks. And I like other coins. I like a lot of other ecosystems, but those are my picks. It's that simple. And as you can see, we're doing pretty damn well. They're up $28,000 today. Not mad at that at all for a spot portfolio. But Dogecoin is one I hold. Dogecoin is one that we're seeing big whale momentum. We finally got the daily cross. For me, if I was really trying to actively day trade Doge, which day trade Doge does have plenty, and I mean plenty of exchange trading volume on Bitunix, I would be looking at this previous high right here, which is at 28.5. And I would also be looking at the previous range low, okay, which is at 30 cents, a little bit over 30 cents. Why does this matter? Because if this was, so here's our previous range high, and this is the low from it, right? And this is our current range low, and this is the high from it. So what does this mean? This little gap right here, where it like no man's land, that's important. That's important because it's a give me. It's a pick 'em. It's an easy trade. If you go from this alarm, through no man's land. That's a 6% trade. 6% trade from basically 28.5 to just over 30 cents from our current range high to our previous range low. That gap right there with the daily cross will 100% happen. And that is a free trade, free alarm for you guys. So let's write these alarms down. Let's say 28.6, 0.286 previous high. That would be the long alarm. And then target number one is 30. Actually, it's actually 302 or 301. Yeah, 302. All right. So that is a free 6% trade. Don't tell me I never gave you nothing, especially with the bull cross already behind us. Pretty good news. MetaMask set to unveil plans for a new stablecoin. I'm surprised it took them so long. I'm surprised MetaMask doesn't have a meta coin. But to be fair, I think that's kind of might be one of their saving graces, is that, you know, they kind of prided themselves off of being a home base rather than someone, you know, trying to make money off of a coin. And I think from a posturing position, I think it does make more sense for them to do a stable coin than a coin that fluctuates. I think their reputation is too clean. They got too much going on to take a chance on a coin. Screenshot for the proposal for the stable coin circulated last week before it was deleted. Obviously, this is kind of the thing under wraps. I have heard about this. This is also something I heard about years ago, that they were going to do a coin or a stable coin or something of the sort. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but I do think that this is something that we're going to see more of, especially from top holders like this. There was also a story going around today that Google's App Store was that the Google App Store was going to release some sort of thing that banned non-custodial crypto wallets, and they got insane backlash, and they already backpedaled out of it. So that story is kind of a nothing burger at this point, but they were trying to posture. People freaked out. They said, oh, my bad, we're not going to do that. And that's what we thought. So yeah, get in line, Google. We don't like you anymore. All right. Bitcoin breaks 123K to set new all-time high. Previous all-time high, 123,165 was set on July 14th. Today, we did quickly hit 123,500, ignited a wave of short liquidations totaling to 90.79 million in 24 hours. That's pretty insane. I mean, Bitcoin is, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin chart here. And guys, I mean, I'm not going to lie. When August started, this is what I saw in August. If we kind of go to the replay here, if you look at Bitcoin from right here, if we this was like playing back until August 2nd. Right now it's August 13th. And if you just look at this at face value and say, okay, well, they lost support resistance here. They lost support resistance here, which was even worse. And then we kind of have a no man's land that doesn't really pick us up until all the way back here at 110,000. Let me pull this up. You probably can't see that. You see that no man's land kind of between this previous low here and these previous highs that were rejected. You can see why a lot of people from a TA perspective we're probably betting on, you know, 110s in August. And then I mean August has kind of been like a whatever month. There are some good Augusts, but like August hasn't been like an October, where October, November has, you know, generally across the board have been extremely bullish months. And it made a lot of sense for, you know, August to bleed before we wake up at the end of the year. But that's not what happened at all. If we go ahead and press play here and look at what happened, we're only looking at a 2 hour. We kind of corrected down, and then we kind of started putting in a fight. And then I kind of thought, okay, that was just going to be the next lower high, which it started. Then we put in a higher low, and then we woke up immediately. And then once we put that candle in, it was over. And now we're putting in all-time highs. So that's how quickly it happens. You know what I mean? And like I said, when we're just looking at this part of the chart, approaching no man's land, approaching the previous range, you could completely see. And I'll be honest with you. I was wrong about the beginning of this month. I was dead wrong about the beginning of this month. I'm not scared to tell people I was wrong. A lot of people will like cover it up and pretend like, oh, let's not ever talk about the times I was wrong. I want to focus on the times I was wrong. How am I going to get better of a trader if I don't look at when I was wrong? And I think a really important factor here was what happened What do I always tell you guys? What do I always tell you guys about trading? 50 EMA is your best friend. It's your best friend. And what happened? We talked about this. It came down, and then right here, when we were rejected by this previous level, we came back down again. We were rejected by this level again. But what happened right here? Right here, we bounced off this support resistance level and stayed above the 50 EMA here on this 2-hour chart. That was the sign right there. The support resistance bounce on the 50 EMA bounce. That was the sign. That was the sign. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. This is not something I caught in the moment, but upon reflection, I realized that was the trade. And look, that would have been 7.5% in about a week. And these are things that, guys, I beat myself up all the time. You have to be really hard on yourself as a trader. You have to be your worst critic. And if you're not going back in time and using the replay function on TradingView to see these mistakes that you've made and to realize yourself, okay, well, I already had this level. But I didn't pay attention to the bounce rejection of the 50 right there. I mean that was perfect. It was perfect, but I missed it. Why? How did I miss that? And you have to beat yourself up. You have to be willing to tell yourself, hey, I'm going to go back on this chart and figure out where I went wrong. And I went wrong right here. And the mistake I made was right here. I mean, I know what I did, and I won't let that happen again. And I think that being open about that as a trader and saying, you know what, not going to let that happen next time. Maybe I should zoom out a little bit more. There's something to be said about learning, about making mistakes and learning from them. So what can we do differently? So let's look at Bitcoin now. All right. So Bitcoin put in a brand new all-time high today. According to my chart, it says it hit 123,658 according to my chart. So we do have this angle here. Let me change the color of the angle since I have support resistance. All right. Let me kind of fix this level a little bit. All right. So we have that. We'll make these yellow. And then we have this more direct angle here. And obviously, I'm always looking for bump and runs where we appreciate this angle. And if we ever lose this angle becomes the target. So that's something I'm always looking at, especially when you see really big rips like this. I mean, what happened last time Bitcoin hit its previous all-time high? It hit the all-time high, and then it slightly put in slightly lower highs. And even if you just go off this angle alone, so we're talking lower high, lower high, lower high, but extend the angle out, right there could have been your trade. And that would have worked. That easily would have worked. And it even bounced off of it. It came up, it hit it, and then what did it do? It bounced off of it again and respected this new trend line. So right there, boom. That's money. That's a money shot. And that idea alone, 4.1% in a day in 14 hours. And guys, I know sometimes it seems easy to talk about this stuff in hindsight, to have more of a reaction than a look forward. But if you don't appreciate this stuff and realize, oh man, look how simple that was, you're not going to be able to see it in real time. So like this is stuff that's really important to go over, even if it seems, arbitrary. It's really not arbitrary because, what if we see something similar again? What if we see Bitcoin kind of put in this high, and then wiggle lower highs, but then that new trend line ends up getting broken by, say we go like this and then wiggle and then break through that trend line. That happens all the time. It happens all the time. So, really, if we want to get nifty here, I would set an alarm at this previous high here at 122,287. Of course, alarm local high, you could react to that range. That would work as well. Also, if you really wanted to zoom in and play the angles game, which I know a lot of traders do, we could play this angle here, play the break of that angle, and then use this level here, 122,315, or even another low like this range under it. We could use that as rejection, as confirmation for breakdown, and look at the short there. But of course, we have to alarm local high. If you want to play that game, alarming local high and reacting to that works as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. I'm really not much of a Bitcoin trader. I don't trade Bitcoin often unless it's something I completely can't ignore. But but I certainly like to keep track of Bitcoin because what Bitcoin does has a big effect on what altcoins do. And even if we look at Bitcoin dominance, how's Bitcoin dominance doing? Because as you can see here, let's go to the daily. We are always talking about, with Bitcoin dominance, having, a replay of what happened in 2021. Okay. So this is what happens to here. This drop. That is exactly what happens in an altcoin bull run. You've seen it. This is our measuring stick for what an altcoin bull run looks like with Bitcoin dominance. All right. And we've seen, Bitcoin dominance really kind of hold on to this uptrend here. And it has broken down. It broke down in this uptrend here and bounced support resistance. And it found its way back into the uptrend from starting these angles here. But now we've kind of curved over again. And we're starting to get back to these previous alarms where we've lost a couple of them. And this big alarm here at 58.7%, losing that alarm, that could be a big sign. Because, previously when we have fallen from this high to here, about a 10% drop. Okay, well, what is this drop? From this high to here, about 10.2%. So we've done this already. Right here to right here, about 10.2%. And right here to right here, about 10.2%. So we're basically postulating here that if Bitcoin bounces here, we're going to see another drop in altcoins like we've seen before. But if this alarm goes off, that will be the furthest Bitcoin dominance has fallen consecutively, not from here, but literally from all the way back here. All right. So that would be very significant for Bitcoin dominance to go below 58.7%. That is the alarm for Bitcoin dominance. And then, of course, we have a couple other little baby alarms at 54.3, 49.8, stuff like that. But really 58.7, that is really what you want to be watching for Bitcoin dominance right now. We cannot ignore Ethereum. Ethereum is running the headlines, and rightfully so. CryptoFace was in a $20 million Ethereum trade yesterday. He said, we were talking beforehand. He was like, yo, I'm about to go live. Check this out. And he opened the trade basically on the stream, made like 300 grand, gave away money. It was crazy. Shout out to CryptoFace. But he's right. Ethereum is running the show right now. Kind of why I've been really patient with the coins I've been watching. Movement or not movement, you want to find the coins that are really running the show. All right. And lately that's been Ethereum. We even talked about this yesterday. We did the Ethereum chart yesterday. We'll go over it a little bit today, but Ethereum ETFs pull 524 million in a day as inflows outpace Bitcoin eightfold. That's some pretty serious numbers. And I think it's kind of just another window into what's going to happen to the other altcoins once they get their spot ETFs. I'm telling you, the institutional door is one that is, when it opens, these things start running. And I mean, look at these headlines. Ethereum to 5,000 this weekend. Elliott Wave 5 targets as shorts get wrecked. Whatever. Ethereum already. Now we're starting headlines like, is Ethereum going to hit 25,000 by 2028? Okay, now you're just getting a little carried away. It's getting a little carried away, in my opinion. If Ethereum hit, what would that have to be? Ethereum hit 25,000. What would that market cap be? If Ethereum hit 25,000, it would require a $3 trillion market cap. The total crypto market cap right now is still under 4 trillion, I believe. I have to double check. Let me actually double check that. Yeah, market cap today is 4.05 trillion. So we're up a little bit. It was in the high threes. Now we're back into the fours. But basically, for Ethereum to hit $25,000, it would have to be 75% of the current total crypto market cap. That just seems ridiculous to me. I'm not saying it's impossible, but what I'm saying is that obviously for Ethereum to go that far, the total crypto market cap, it would have to be 17-20 trillion dollars. And that's kind of what I've been saying yesterday when people are saying, oh, Bitcoin's not going past 150. And I'm just like, you know what you're saying? Like the entire ship is going to have to, the water level is going to have to rise forever for crypto. All right. And if we have a $4 trillion previous all-time high back from 2021, That $4 trillion is going to become the new baseline. That's going to be the new support, which was once the ceiling. Now it's the new support. And then I believe if we can go to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 and then kind of retest from there, to think crypto is not eventually going to become a $20 trillion industry is extremely short-sighted, especially for people who are in crypto. For it to have become a $4 trillion industry in 2021 with no regulation, with Gary Gensler in charge, it kind of shows that the money is there. But now the regulation doors are open. We're talking interest slashes by maybe 2 interest slashes this year. The macro will be favorable. The timeline will be on from a year and a half from the Bitcoin halving. The stars are aligning. The stars are aligning in a way they never have before. And to think that, okay, we did 4 trillion last time when everything else was shit, we could at least go 8, 10, 12 trillion this time. And when you start thinking, okay, well, if people are saying $3 trillion market cap for Ethereum, $25,000 Ethereum, what would the total crypto market cap have to be for Ethereum to get to 3 trillion? You see my point, right? You see my point. So I'm not worried about Algorand going to 10 billion. I'm not worried about VeChain and Arbitrum going to 10 billion. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. And then quickly looking at the Ethereum chart that we talked about yesterday, we did kind of have this alarm set up. This is something that we kind of ran through so we can kind of reevaluate from what happened. Crypto Faces trade was basically this come down and then this bounce here, or was it this come down and this bounce here? It was one of those two things. He was right on the money, and he basically used a reversal. It was a simple reversal trade. It wasn't rocket science, but he went for it and he was right. And I gotta love it. So now, of course, we are going to react to Ethereum's new high on my chart. That's 4784. Let me get a little thing here. 4,784. That would be the new high alarm if you want to react to that in range trade, or if we want to leave the 4642 alarm in the event on the 23-minute. If this level alarm was to go off, the price would have to be under the 50 EMA at that time, which would make sense. The current point of control is actually all the way down here at 4,300. Not saying it's going to do that. It very well could retest point of control and continue. That's not out of the ordinary. That wouldn't be absolutely crazy. I would like to see it hold the 50, or if it came down, I would like to see it hold the 200. So if it came up and tested this level, that would make a lot more sense because it would bounce 200 and continue. That's kind of what I'm looking at. But of course, at the end of the day, if we're range trading, we're simply reacting to levels where previous high is long continuation, and this support resistance level, which would put it under the 50, we could make an argument to go short. It's that simple. I don't care what happens between here and here. I'm only reacting to the break of either alarm. And that's how I trade. And that is a disciplined way to trade. You trade a lot less than other people, but when you trade, you generally tend to make money, and you generally tend to not be wrong. Moving forward, Cardano ETF approval odds hit 80% as Grayscale establishes Delaware Trust. Oh, you know it's real if the Delaware Trust gets made. If people drive to Wilmington, if people drive to Wilmington just to make a trust, oh, you know it's real. You definitely know it's real. Market sentiment around Cardano's institutional prospects surge as prediction markets assign an 80% probability of SEC approval of a spot ADA ETF in 2025, driven by Grayscale's investment strategic positioning and favorable regulatory momentum. The optimism reflects broader institutional appetite for altcoin exposure beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum products already trading on major exchanges. And guys, you have to say that if they're, let's kind of be honest about this. Let's be honest about this. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high today. Ethereum running. Ethereum's running. Why buy Ethereum now? It's just running. Spot buy. Spot buying Ethereum now is kind of reckless. If you want to trade it now, that's one thing. But saying, I'm going to get in now, that's kind of reckless. XRP, let's be honest. If you bought your XRP at 50, 60 cents and you're still holding it, that's one thing. But if you're buying XRP all the way up the hill now, reckless. To be fair, Cardano is like the next one in line. It hasn't really ripped yet. It hasn't really started running. It has ran. It has some up, it's moving. Even on my portfolio here, when did I buy my Cardano? All right, I'm up 20%. My average cost on my Cardano was 76 cents. I'm at 91 cents now. I'm up 20% for $4,000. So I bought 20 grand in Cardano and I have $24,000 now. That's not bad, but that's not like crazy either, is it? That's really not that crazy when you think about it. And when we look at the Cardano chart and we can kind of appreciate, okay, well, here's the top in 2021 at, all the way up there, $3.07, $3.08. And if you look at the Ethereum chart, we'll just go like this. It's going to be very messy when I do this, but look. Okay, here's Ethereum 2021 high right here. And that's like basically where we are. We haven't broke it yet. We're damn close. We're damn close. But when you look at Ethereum, we are almost at, I mean an inch below where we were in 2021. We look at Bitcoin. We are past where we were in 2021. So Bitcoin and Ethereum have climbed this hill. XRP has put in new highs. So the next coin in line is Cardano. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Am I out of my mind? But like, it kind of shows the difference of what institutional money can do. And if Cardano from here at 91, 92 cents was to go back to its 21 high, that would be, 236%, back to around $3.08. And honestly, a 2.3x ain't really shit in crypto world. In crypto world, everyone wants at least a 4 or a 5x. And most people that want a 4 or a 5 are people that watch my channel and had their hearts broken because the 10x they want ain't gonna happen. Okay, I'm the one that says, "Oh, you want a 10x? Okay, come talk to me. We'll get you a 4." Because a 4x is a lot more than most people will even get, to be honest. If everyone gets to walk with the 4x, I'd be so happy, so happy. But really, we're kind of looking at Cardano at not even $1 yet, and you realize it's 2.3x just to go to previous all-time high. And it's not impossible. That's good. That's really good. It's really good. 2.3x is really good. But in the minds of a lot of traders who want to multiply everything by 5 or 8 or 10, more like 12, that's not much. And you get my point. You get my point. I'm here for it. I think Cardano could go much further. I think Cardano easily could be $5 easily. But I mean, let's look at it. All right. So Cardano. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all three of those have done it already. They're already past where they were in 2021. Ethereum just about. BNB is on the list. Solana, on the list. But really, Cardano is the next one in line, in my opinion. And if Cardano was to get to $3, 81% of the supply is now in circulation. I don't know what that number was at the top in 2021, but we could figure it out very easily. A $3 Cardano would require $109 billion market cap. Like I said, about 2.3x. But a $5 Cardano, $181.8 billion, 4.5x. Basically, that's more like it. That's kind of more where I see Cardano. But what I'm saying here is that the difference between, okay, Bitcoin's already past its 21 all-time high. Ethereum is knocking on the door of the 2021 all-time high. But now it's the time. Now it's the time to appreciate, to look at the altcoins that are not even close. And right now, Cardano is very far behind Ethereum in terms of the race to the previous all-time high. That's what I'm trying to say. And so we need to realize, okay, well, things are starting to happen. Well, where are we reacting? And we have talked about this pennant here on the 2-hour. We talked about this yesterday. And our previous high, 92.6. And that would be this high right here, 92. Any Cardano you can buy below 92.6 is a good buy, because even if it bounces here and eventually breaks out later, whatever, this alarm is breakout confirmation for this pennant. And we're very close to that. And I'd really like to see that happen, and then that become the new baseline and continue. That's any Cardano you buy under 92.6 is a win, is a big win for sure. I do want to talk about very quickly the Tesla giveaway. How many people we got in the house? About 100 people on YouTube. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure you smash the likes. right here, Tesla Model 3 giveaway. We extended this a week. We extended it 1 week. So the winner gets picked on Monday, the 18th. All right. There are also 15 people are going to win $100 in VeChain. 10 people are going to win VeChain merch packs. So 26 winners altogether. And one winner will win a brand new Tesla Model 3, or you can opt to receive the value of the vehicle at $42,490. The person from the first Tesla giveaway chose the money. I don't blame them, especially now with the timing right before the bull run. It does make sense to choose the money. That's totally up to the winner. And don't be bummed if you don't win this one, because there will be another Tesla giveaway in September. And at the end of the year, we're giving away a Cybertruck. So make sure you stick around, get involved. We're going to have a couple other little giveaways in between there and now. Basically, you're going to click the sweep widget link. It's going to take you to this page right here, and you're going to sign up with your email address, full name, follow the prompts. It'll take you 3 minutes, and you will be involved. And it's always the people who say, I never win giveaways. Those are the people who generally tend to win my giveaways. It happens all the time. All right, so let's keep the ball rolling here. So I do want to talk about, we talk about Cardano. And guys, Cardano is not the only ETF that I think has a very, very high likelihood of happening this year. I think Hedera, I think probably Suede, maybe even Pangu or Litecoin, or hopefully Solana, XRP. And I think once the bulk of the top 10 gets an ETF, the doors are going to smash open. And this is the difference. The ETF is the difference between you being this close to the 2021 high with Ethereum, or you being this far away from the 2021 high with Cardano. Night and day difference. But if you don't think Cardano is next in line, you got another thing coming. I think Cardano is a solid buy right now. I would much rather buy Cardano over Bitcoin or Ethereum 100 out of 100. No questions asked. Couple coin charts I wanted to go over here. Wanted to go over Pangu. Pangu is one that we hit a lot in the Telegram group. As you can see, these are the exact alarms we had from the Telegram group. And we literally caught this big move up from 173 right here. And if you really want to get nifty and measure from that alarm that you had in the group before it happened to the top, 168% in 13 days, that's straight fire. That's straight fire. I don't know how many other traders or other Telegram groups caught that move. We did. And that was actually very damn close to the previous high before it kind of, had a long year. And I remember people were saying, down here in April and May, oh, like, I don't think Pangu is going to die. I don't think Pangu is going to die. I sarcastically bought like $400 of Pangu down here, and I wish I bought $40,000 of it, because that's probably one of the biggest winners in my bag. But if we kind of zoom in on, what's been happening lately, is that it's kind of been ranging. Nothing too crazy, really. I mean, if we even go from the bottom of this range to the top of this range, it is generally, for the most part, for the better half of 27 days, been kind of stuck in a 46. Actually, let's go from there. So actually from here to here, that would be more accurate. Yeah, 24 days, 47% range. And a 47% range is certainly worth working with. That's not like you're going to wait for that range to break. So it's been putting in higher lows. That's thing number one. Thing number two, it has put in a lower high. So now we're kind of forcing a pennant. And then a breakout for this pennant would be this previous high here that we have not alarmed yet. So that'd be breakout confirmation at 415. Let me make that yellow so it makes more sense. Hit the text box. So this is breakout confirmation for Pangu, 0.0415. That is your alarm. If you still want to use the 383 alarm, this one here, let me get my brush, this alarm, which would be this line, you could still use that, but be aware that if we long from that alarm, you don't have much room, because you're going to be running into this trend line. So be careful with the 383 alarm, because the conditions have changed. And I think the 415 alarm is the safer trade, because it's breakout confirmation. On the flip side of that, say it breaks short, 3.5, that would break as that this previous level from here, which is this level, would still work as breakdown confirmation, because it would have to cross that trend line for that alarm to go off at this point in the chart. And at that point, 3 cents and 323 would be your first targets. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on for Pangu. It's not a chart that I've abandoned. It's a chart that I've been watching pretty closely, actually. And these levels here are all rock solid levels that have led to a number of trades for the group and for myself. So actually, I just did not mean to move that. Let me pull this over here. But yeah, I'm going to add the 415 level. And that's also, it makes sense because this was a bounce level right here. It was the ceiling, and now it's the floor. So breaking that level would be significant, and that would kind of be a tip off that, hey, very possible because to hit the local high from that is about 12% up the hill. And that's extremely doable, considering that if you talk about my 3 of my favorite coins in the top 100 in terms of where they are by market cap, Arbitrum, Algorand, VeChain are in the $2.4 billion market cap. Do you know what coins actually in between those coins? Pangu. So Pangu by market cap is at the perfect sweet spot where the 3 of my largest holds are. So Pangu is worth considering to continue to look at. I don't think it's going to fall out. I really don't. I think it's going to continue to be a winner. But with that said, the title of this video is Crypto Gem Pick. We've seen what Pangu is capable of. We've seen those holy shit type gains that Pangu gave us this year. Of course, guys, Algorand, VeChain, Arbitrum, Jasmine, Hedera. You guys know the picks that I like. But there's one coin in particular that I feel has had an insane run before. We know it's possible. It has a kick-ass community that's making developments, and using Pangu as a measuring stick, I think I know what this coin can do if the conditions play themselves out and all the stars align. I've said this before on this channel. I'm going to say it again. I want to hammer this pick home for you guys. We're using Pangu as the measuring stick, but Apecoin is extremely undervalued by so much. And don't be fooled by the lower highs. Do not be fooled by the lower highs. Because look at the nature of this coin. Look at the nature of how this thing has moved. All right, it had an insane move back in 2021. All right, but this was back all the way back here. The tokenomics were nothing compared to what they are now. The tokenomic situation has changed night and day from then to now. But even look like right here, like back in 22, we put the low in here at 316. Boom, 150% pump. Put the low in here at 271. Boom, 135% pump. And then look at what has become the new meta. The new meta for this coin is, although it has been putting in lower highs because of the tokenomic situation, doesn't mean, look right there, 172%, 155 days from this low to this high, 347% in 123 days. Just because the tokenomic situation did not work out for this coin, which is why it has been putting in lower lows and lower highs, don't let that fool you. This coin is prepared to fucking rip. I mean, just looking at what it did from August of 24 to the December high, this thing outperformed most altcoins, 340%. This was in the top 50 of performers inside the top 100. And what's interesting about what happened with that pump is that look at the range we're at now. Look at that box. We are in the accumulation range that this thing was in before. It had the last 340% pump. 77.5, 77.5 cents. That is your breakout alarm. And even we have several rejections at that level. You can make the argument ascending triangle, which gives you a measured move. We pull that up, we go to here, and that spits us out basically right at support resistance from this level back here. Most of the time, measured moves do bring you to support resistance. In this case, this time it does. And even from our current price to the top of that measured move is still a 98% 90.5% pump. That's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not to mention the point of control sits at $1.09. We're sitting at 66 cents just to get to the point of control. That's 70%. That's 70%. It doesn't have to do what Pangu did to put in a completely bonkers move and say, okay, it's been putting in lower highs. Okay. Well, say that's the meta. Say that's the meta. And say 2026. Where's 2026? Right here. So say it just came down, hit this lower high, and got rejected. And that's all it was. And that's all that happened. Okay. Well, from right here, and it gets to that level, that's still 118%. That's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. I think obviously it's super important for Ape to break this lower high pattern. I think it very well can. I would like to see a $2 Apecoin by the end of this year. I've said that before. I'll stick by it. But what does Apecoin have that other coins don't? The metaverse. The metaverse has been an extremely overused niche that every crypto project wants to be AI or RWA. Well, in 2021, every crypto project wanted to be a metaverse. And why was that? We all watched a couple bad movies. We had an idea of what was possible of metaverse, Ready Player One type shit, and everyone completely underdelivered on this concept. Well, guess what? The other side has been being built for years. The land deeds launched in 2021. It's the second half of 2025, and we still haven't played the other side yet. We bought these deeds 4 or 5 years ago, and they've put millions and millions of dollars into research, millions of dollars into development, all these video game developers, and this is supposed to be the year of the other side. I think we're going to learn a lot about what's going to happen with that, and I think the success of the other side metaverse is going to be a measuring stick for the success of the metaverse industry. And I think that the Pudgy Penguins set a standard, but the apes have the ability with other side to be back on top of the blue chips, to flip the narrative again, because now if other side works out, we will have something that they don't. And last time Ape Fest happened, Apecoin had an insane pump. Ape Fest is happening October this year. Will history repeat itself? I would probably say yes. And I think a complete undervalued gem pick in crypto right now is Apecoin. And some of you might think I'm crazy, but the people in my Telegram group that were here, where I just circled the chart back, November, October of 2024, we called this move in the Telegram group. We nailed this move. And what I like about where Apecoin is now is that it's under that level. 77.5 is the alarm for Apecoin. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Don't tell me I never gave you anything. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe to the channel, all the things. Let's get into the call out chart from yesterday. So we'll start with Pendle. All right. Daily chart. Is that as far back as it goes? Is that it? Yeah, I guess so. This is one that I've looked at before, but I don't think I've ever really got into it. Okay, so obviously we put in this high here in February of 2024, and I've never been there since that point. That was at just over 7.5. Now we're at 5.6. It would be a 33% pump to all-time highs. We can say that we kind of put in sort of a big ass flag like that, because this is kind of double bottom from here, like this. The only saving grace here, the only saving grace with this one is that it has put in higher lows aggressively since there. So ignoring the bottom part and just focusing on higher lows versus lower highs, I would kind of look at it like that, with a point of intersection that kind of spits us out really not until March of next year. So it does have a lot of room to wiggle inside the point of intersection. So what I would do, I would be looking at the levels that matter the most, as in this previous high here, the all-time high, and where we previously got rejected here. So most local alarm that matters the most, $6.05. The next level that matters the most is $7.05. And of course, all-time high, $7.56. Those are kind of the levels right now. I don't think this thing has leverage volume anywhere significant enough, so I'm not going to make any scalper marks on this play. But you know, I'm just kind of look at the daily here. Could be forming a bear div on the daily. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I mean the weekly is pushing up. It's not like the color is already bounced and it is like in the top of the momentum wave, but that doesn't mean it can't continue. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on this one. The 2 hour is not good at all. The 2 hour is yells bearish divergence. You see how anchor wave, trigger wave with the money going down. That's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah. The 2 hour is not good. And then of course, you know, local low, $5.23 with no man's land in between at $4.88. And then of course that flips with a gap in the volume profile that leads us to point of control. So, you know, maybe consider a short at 521 and through no man's land through the low volume node there. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting with this one, but certainly long alarm at 605. That's where I'm at with Pendle. I'm not going to be involved with this one. Ondo. Ondo is one of my favorite coins. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let me find a naked Ondo chart here that hasn't been marked up a million times. So yeah, even Ondo, you know, starting to bear div on the daily. That doesn't mean it can't continue. That doesn't mean it can't green dot and bounce. But yeah, the dailies are getting a little scary considering that couple reasons. The dailies are, actually, this is a 2 hour, excuse me. The 2 hours are getting scary because we we had our run in July, right? And from there, we set the new low, which is generally support resistance. In this case, it is right here because this was a previous low. And now it was the ceiling, and now it's the floor. Okay, so we can establish that that is the bottom of our current range. We do not want to see Ondo go below 84 cents, or it's really bad. Where now we have our high at $1.16. So this is our current range. What's scary is that if we don't break through here and we bear div and start putting in, you know, a form of, if we did something like this and a bounce like this, we would kind of be having a pennant set up in the middle of this range. And that's just going to do nothing but take time, because really Ondo has been in this range, which is a 38% range, for the past 35 days. How long is it going to take for it to break this range? Because really Ondo, nothing matters until the previous high breaks. That's all that matters, is if the previous high breaks and we continue in a bull run mode. Anything in between in this box really is inconsequential unless you're scalp trading. In this particular coin, you're not scalp trading Ondo much. Unless you're really doing very small trades. This thing does not have the leverage volume to do significant scalp trades. So yeah, I would like to see it break this range. Obviously 116, big long alarm. You know, if you wanted to get some other levels here, like, you know, 112, you could pull SR there, or even, you know, kind of support resistance from our previous highs here. You know, 108, 109 even, you could play with that. But really, you know, I would be looking at these higher lows here and playing off the angles. Other than that, you know, this is a weight game for me, because just kind of eliminating all the TA here. And then just looking at the weekly, how much do we even have to go off of here? Yeah, I mean, it's pushing up on the momentum wave. There's really not enough to go off of. Maybe the 3-day would give us more. Yeah, I mean, that's actually not bad. The 3-day gives me a lot more hope than, because there's really not enough to go off of on the weekly, and the 3-day is still showing us in the red, but the RSI is pushing, and we're at the top of the momentum wave. So really breaking, and of course this 116 level we talked about, 117 level we talked about right here, that obviously was a previous low back here in this, at the bottom of this range. So breaking that kind of, so if we look at this, if we look at Ondo in two pieces, range high, range low, the difference maker is the 116 alarm. That is the difference between this range and this range. So if we get rejected here, we could end up all the way back at 80, 70 cents. Whereas if we get above 116 for 1 minute, the 217, $2 Ondo gets unlocked again. And that's where we could be heading. Honestly, I think Ondo is going to do a very, very, very strong coin. I'm extremely bullish on this narrative and this project and everything involved with it. If Ondo doesn't go to $4.50, $5 this bull run, it failed. It was a failure. That's how I feel. But this is it's not my largest pick by money, but it has become the largest pick in my largest bag, the public bag that I have right here. Ondo has become the largest winner here. It is leading the bag, 104,000. And that happened because it earned itself into that. So yeah, it is leading the bag, and there's a reason for that. I don't think a lot of altcoin traders, oh, you guys can't even see what I'm talking about right there. It is at the top of the list, and it became that. It didn't start there. It became that. But I don't think a lot of altcoin, crypto technical analysis guys are leading their bags with Ondo, Algo, VET, HBAR, Jasmine, Arbitrum, Ape. I am. If you're scared, I don't know. Pray about it or something. But I'm not scared at all. I think this portfolio is going to rip. I think it's going to be absolutely insane. All right, so let's finish. So Ondo, you guys know where I stand with that. 116 is the alarm. What's the decimal? 116.7. Let's just say 117. Because if Ondo hits 117, it will be above. It will be out of the value range low into the value range high. That is the deal breaker for Ondo to get above 117. And then Aptos, APT. All right. This is an interesting one. We're looking at a 3-day. I'm going to stay looking at the 3 days. So the first thing I see when I look at this chart, of course, is market cipher. This is a perfect example of a bullish divergence. As you can see, the 50 EMA is trending down. The price is kind of trending down. Although it's kind of curving and putting in flat, it's trending down. Anchor wave, trigger wave, trigger wave, trigger wave. As the RSI hooks, as the money flow gets less red, as the VWAP pushes, and this RSI pushes as well, this thing is loading up. Aptos is loading up big time. Big bullish div on the 3-day. So what do I see when I look at just the chart itself? I kind of see a super flat range. Well, first of all, this is an example of a curved downtrend. If you were to try to, draw this like this, it wouldn't make sense because that's not a breakout, is it? No, it's not. And curved downtrends are certainly a real thing. You kind of look at how it kind of goes isotopically, smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's exactly what has happened. It wasn't the perfect drawing, but I'm sure most of you get my point. So what I'm saying is that here's obviously the low right here at $3.89. It has established that low, and it has not really been able to get above this level other than these wicks, which it only happened because it was on the way down, but then it has been rejected several times at $6.32. So for the most part, we can deduce that Aptos has spent the past 195 days inside of this 60% range, where this 60% range constitutes, obviously, as the range low. There's not an argument you can make that this isn't the range low. And even if you extend this level back, you can see that there are levels to the range low. That's no doubt. And this kind of even aligns with the previous low all the way back here. You know what I mean? So this isn't somewhere Aptos hasn't been before. The thing is that we also know what happens 2 times, well, even 3 times in previous history, 2022, actually going into 2023, 2024, at the end of 24 and the 25. All right. And every time, what level did Aptos have to get past to enter the house of pump? It had to get past the same level. So from this level, the same level, alarm at $6.21, $6.26, excuse me, right here, 226% in 18 days. Holy shit. Again, right here, even with the 50 EMA, bam. 208%, 155 days. And again, bam, 143%, 94 days. And it has lower HIDE. But even in the event where it comes past the house of pump and gets rejected, that's still 115, 120% based off where it hits the level. So what you're really looking at is getting above this level is extremely crucial. And then getting above this level, I would say this is the second most important level right there. Because previously, not recently, but previously, this has kind of been the stutter step level where it kind of ranges here and then continues. It rejects here. And then it also rejected here several times as well. So I would say that that level is target number one once you break the level. And the level, without a shadow of a doubt, for Aptos is the $6. I'm going to say 629. I'm going to say it perfectly here. 629. That is the level for Aptos. It has to get above that level to enter the house of pump. Target one is 769. 769. All right. And how much of a pump is that? And that is a give me, in my opinion. If 629 goes off, we going about a 25% pump, something like that. And then the next thing you have to worry about is, okay, we accumulated under 629. We hit 629. We get past our target 769. Now, is this going to break through and try to fight for, previous highs, or is it going to get rejected and do more of the same? And, I can't see the future, but on a 3-day chart, it's looking pretty good. Any Aptos you buy under $6.29 is a win, a big win, historically, that is. And it is finally starting to close, at least this time, above the 50 EMA on the daily chart. And I would seriously be looking at the curvature of this one. How they say in crypto, rounded bottoms pay the bills. Well, that bottom is rounding, and this actually right here was the first higher low. That should be your sign. I think Aptos is a rocket ship. I think Aptos is going to do very well, and the bottom is rounding. So there you go, everybody. There you go. Just like that. What can I say? Safe flight to Chicago. DDP by decision. Oh, don't give me that. Khamzat Shemaev, dog. Khamzat Shemaev. You're gonna run him over. Peppertooth isn't around as much as he used to be, but he's been around a lot. I did the graph yesterday. Israel Favor. I did the graph yesterday. Go check it out. Do you think Algo get an ETF? It's not in the front of the line. Obviously, it's not on the list for this batch of ETFs, but I also feel that like Bitcoin set an example for cryptos getting an ETF. And now that Ethereum has an ETF, that's kind of setting the example on why other altcoins should get ETFs. And then once the XRPs, the chain links, all that, once they get their ETFs, they're all going to make so much money, and they're going to say, well, who else can we throw? Who else can we add into the party? And that's when Algorand and VeChain and Aptos and everyone else is going to get their ETF. So there you go. There you go. I think not this batch, but then maybe the next batch or the batch after that. One day, probably. Okay. Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Really do appreciate you. Whoever entered the Bohm scalp, you're probably gonna get wrecked, dog. Anytime you trade 100x, I think you should probably have a long conversation with yourself before you do that. Don't do that. This is bad. 3x is more than enough leverage for most people, trust me. Has your sentiment changed on a big August retest? Obviously. I mean, I talked about that exact thing for the first 30 minutes of the show when I talked about the Bitcoin chart, and I literally did the replay of the Bitcoin chart, and I had talked about why that was wrong and why we learned from our mistakes and how to correct that from happening, and going back and realizing where I literally spent 30 minutes talking about that today. Definitely go back and watch the beginning of the show. But guys, I'm going to peace out. I got a lot of other videos to make, a lot of things to do. Got a really interesting video coming out on BYB, which you can earn to work out. You can earn crypto by working out. It's a really cool app. Obviously, if you signed up for the Tesla giveaway, you signed up for BYB. I basically did a video with Paisan, who's like the UFC activation manager for VeChain. Really interesting video there. Obviously, guys, I am going to quickly show this before I hit the road. I am curious on, I did not see on Polymarket what the odds are for Kamzat yet. Hopefully they're not too bad, because they shouldn't. It should be a pick 'em, really. 34. Oh man, they're only giving dude 60. So they're basically saying Kamzat is definitely going to win this fight. I mean, betting $1,000 on Kamzat, you're not even getting 500 to bet 1,000. Or if you bet 100, you'd only win, if you bet 100, you barely win $50 profit. That's not enough, because to put $100 in on Duplessis and 294, I mean, that's ridiculous. The guy's undefeated. It should be closer to 50-50 in my opinion. This is a very close fight. They're both undefeated. Very close fight, but I will be leaning to Khamzat Chimaev. I'm okay to overexpose. Obviously, as we get closer to the fight, the volume pool will go up significantly. So I'm probably going to wait to the day of to put my bet in, because the odds might change. Maybe I'll put a couple thousand in now, if in the worry that Khamzat odd shares go to 6 to 75 or even 80% or something crazy like that. But I mean, even if you bet $5,000, you'd only win just about 2,500 profit. $50,000, you'd win $23,000 profit. I mean, that's not winning 23 grand is not worth risking 50 grand. I was actually kind of thinking to bet around 50,000 on this fight. If it was 50,000 to win 90,000 or 95,000, that I'd be a little bit more inclined to do. I was thinking 50 racks for this fight, considering Khamzat is my favorite fighter, and I don't think he's going to get beat ever. And I think anytime you can bet on Khamzat Chimaev, you're going to make money. I do feel that way about this guy and only this guy in the UFC. We've all been wrong with bets before. The more you bet UFC, the more you're going to get wrong over time. But overall, if you go back and bet an even amount of money on everything I've ever said, you're going to make a lot more than you lost. I'll tell you that. But yeah, Khamzat, man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this. Maybe 20 grand to win 30, something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with this one, but I'm gonna make my mind up. I'll put no sweat bets out probably on Friday. I'll probably make it from the press conference or the weigh-ins or something like that. But no sweat bets will be about the fight and the other cards on the fights on the card, and maybe a couple other things as well. But yeah, make sure you sign up for Polymarket with my link down below. If you're American, you do have to use a VPN for now, but that won't last long, because Polymarket is coming to America. And shout out to them for sponsoring this channel. Of course, also thank you to Decrypted Tax, my guy Ernest Lee. He played the poker tournament with us. We hung out a couple times over Rare Evo, talking just about crypto, businesses, taxes in general. Guys, if you got an extension on your taxes, use a tax professional. Don't try to guess. Don't be on the wrong side of Uncle Sam. Set up a free consultation with Ernest. It's really not that expensive to get your taxes done correctly, especially if you hold NFTs, especially if you leverage trade. There's a lot of pieces that you're probably not including, and you don't want to be incorrect on your taxes. This guy knows what he's doing. He's a walking encyclopedia. Shout out to Ernest at Decrypted Tax. Also, Suede AI, the revolutionizing music with music creation with blockchain. I just did a second interview with their founder, John. That interview ripped on YouTube for whatever reason, did very well. Go check it out. I've done 2 interviews with him now, and on the final one, we're actually going to make songs with single sentences of AI prompt. And I mean, I grew up in the music industry. The music industry is completely fucked up. It's super messed up how the artists, they basically squeeze the artists for everything they're worth and give them nothing. And this is kind of flipping that on its head by eliminating the middlemen. And that's, in my idea, the perfect intersection of crypto and a utility, is that crypto is designed to cut out the middlemen. It's designed to, could give the consumer direct access to whatever it is they're trying to consume without people in the middle shaving points off. And one industry that needs crypto's help more than any industry, from my personal life experience, is the music industry. And that's why this project completely aligns with my ethos, which is why I decided to sign with this project. I think it's like a 3-month deal or something like that. But I don't sign with projects for money. I don't need the money anymore. I've been a millionaire for a while now. For me, it's about trying to help the projects that I want to see succeed. And I want crypto to help the music industry, because, it's insane that, that Taylor Swift had to re-record her own album. You know what I mean? It's insane that so many famous artists that you love don't own their own music. They don't own their own thoughts. That's like putting your life's work into something just to not own it. It's really messed up. And this project is fighting against that, and I'm all for it. It's some of the most crypto shit there is. Crypto is probably the most punk rock industry in the world. It's about, oh yeah, well, you want 5%? Why? Oh, because you're just in between me and the person I want to talk to. Oh, okay. Well, we're just gonna get you out of the way. And that's what crypto does. We're, instead of letting the banking system leech off of us, we can bank ourselves. We don't need your help. We can do it. We're grown adults. We don't need you. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about a middle finger to the establishment. That's what crypto is. And I grew up in a punk rock scene in Philadelphia. And when you really think about it, at a financial suit and tie level, crypto is the biggest middle finger to the establishment. And that's why we're here. That's why this lifestyle is so attractive to so many people, because it's the antithesis of the boarding school bougie bullshit. And I love that. I love that. And I want to see as many projects make it and eliminate as many middlemen as possible. And I'm going to use the voice I have to help that out, one day at a time. One day at a time. Yeah, Trippy, you're Trippier doesn't understand. Khamzat Chimaev, bro. Khamzat Chimaev is going to pick DDP up. This is what's going on. I'm about to leave. But before I go, this is what I'm going to say specifically to Trippier. Khamzat Chimaev is going to punch him in the face a couple times. He's going to pick up DDP. At that point, he's going to look around and locate Dana White. Okay. And then he's going to carry him over to Dana White, slam him as hard as possible, probably slap him a couple times. And then while he's just deucing him up, he's going to talk to Dana about his next contract. And then he's going to put him in a triangle and choke him out in the first round. That's what Khamzat's going to do. It's not even a question. I'm not flying all the way. I'm not leaving my fiance and my baby at home to fly to Chicago to watch Khamzat lose. I'll tell you that much. I'm going to Chicago because I know in my soul Khamzat Chimaev is going to win 100%. Just like I went to the Super Bowl knowing the Eagles would win, and I put a ridiculous amount of money on the fact that the Eagles would win because I knew in my heart that the Eagles were going to win, and the Eagles won. That's how I feel about this weekend for Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is going to win this weekend. That's all I got. Get rich or get tracked. This is the last live stream of the week. Catch me on Monday. We're giving away a Tesla on Monday as the next stream. Peace out. Smash the likes.